One time, like this.
This is SF More Your Prison Lawyers, SF More Your Prison Lawyers, SF More Your Thriller, Grill Pit.
You're in the motherfucking grill pit.
Look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a bird.
Thriller, Grill Pit.
You're in the motherfucking grill pit.
You're in a grill pit.
You're in the motherfucking grill pit.
This is SAF Mo, your prison lawyer, and I'm gonna give it to you raw, or I ain't gonna give it to you at all. On IGSTS, on GP, you feel me?
You're in a grill pit, bitch.
What do you got to say about SAS Mo saying white MFers?
I don't give a fuck what anybody says, because it's America and you should be able to do and say what the fuck you want. 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 God bless America.
This is SAF Mo, your prison lawyer. This is SAF Mo, your prison lawyer. This is SAF Mo, your prison lawyer. I'm about to hit you with another installment of IGSTS. You feel me? And I told you before, I'm gonna give it to you raw. I ain't gonna give it to you at all. You understand me? So, that being said, this is the most dangerous reaction in YouTube history. You know? You feel me? I'm gonna react to this. A dude I just told to stop making YouTube videos, right? You know, especially when it comes to what's going on with us, right? But I told you before, and I gave you a disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. I'm SAF Mo, your prison lawyer. IGSTS. You're in a grill pit. So, I got a special guest that's gonna join us, you know? Just in case we get into some legal wrangling and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I got a special guest that's gonna join us. I wanna introduce y'all, and I'll give my motherfucking man round of applause. CLR. Bruce Willis, CLR, is gonna join us today. You feel me? Mr. Bruce Willis, CLR. Mr. Bruce Willis, CLR, gonna join us for this reaction. Alright, you got anything to say, CLR? That's what I thought. Okay, let's get into this demo. See what's going on.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. What he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board certified criminal defense lawyer, board certified by the National Board of Trial Advocacy and by the Minnesota State Bar Association as a...
Hold on, did you catch that? Let's go back. Hold on. I might be tripping. Shit.
Criminal defense lawyer, board certified by the National Board of Trial Advocacy and by the Minnesota State Bar Association.
Okay, well, let me go back to another one of these episodes, because I might be tripping. You know what I'm saying? Let me just check this out.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer, and today we are.
Okay, I'm not tripping. I don't know if you noticed it, but I did. This is the first time in history, Mr. Bruce Willis, Senior, Junior, whatever, is announcing that he's Minnesota board certified. I don't know if that's a shout out to SAFMO, because I'm in Minnesota, but I'm from Chicago originally. You feel me? What's up, Chicago? You know, so I don't know if he's trying to J down on me or jab back at me, but, you know, besides that, I got CLR, Bruce Rivers, realist, W do right with me, so I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Let's roll this. You know what I'm saying?
As a criminal trial specialist and a criminal law specialist. Today we're reacting to the sentencing of R. Kelly. Now, let's go back and think about what the hell R. Kelly was charged with. He was charged with a number of counts with a number of victims related to criminal sexual conduct. But it wasn't just straight criminal sexual conduct. It also had to do with some torture, some really vile shit.
Hey, before we even get into this, I want to clarify a bunch of things. First and foremost, as far as the victims are concerned, or as far as R. Kelly is concerned, I'm not a judge. You know, these white folks, they judges, right? So I'm not here to say this is wrong, this is right, this happened, that happened. I wasn't there. SAFMO wasn't there. SAFMO was probably locked up during that time or trying to get on a grind or something like that. Had nothing to do with what's going on. What I want to do is just look at this system, analyze the system from the perspective of an individual like myself, and listen to this cat talk about this bullshit. So just you know, to clarify, so don't get distorted. Nobody goes off and says, "Oh, SFMO said this about the victim," or he's unsympathetic to the victims. Listen, I'm not here to judge anybody. You understand? And victim in this judicial system, it's not about who's the victim. It's about who's the worthy victim, right? Because everybody's being victimized by this system. Everybody, right? So let's cut the shenanigans. So don't play, oh, Mo said this, SFMO said that. SFMO ain't saying shit about shit. SFMO is talking to you, Mr. Bush. You know what I'm saying? Because you're in the grill pit, and I'm checking you on this situation. So let's just keep going. Let's go. This is the most dangerous reaction in YouTube history. SAFMO is doing this thing. All right.
Now let me tell you this. I've been doing this for almost 25 years, okay? And criminal sexual conduct cases are something I handle on a regular basis. We just do. I mean, we do that. We do murder cases. We do drug cases. And it's just kind of one of the genres that we handle. And it never ceases to amaze me the depravity that some people decide to delve in. And, you know, what R. Kelly did was control and humiliation. And he fucking got off on it. I mean, he got off on it because he could do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. And that's absolute power, and absolute power does what? Corrupts absolutely. So,
I heard that somewhere before. You know, he fell on, F on originality. But let's go. You know what I'm saying? He's about to drop some knowledge. You know.
We've got a little video here we'll watch. I haven't seen it yet, but it's we'll just react to the news, and we'll talk a little bit more about it on the other side.
30 years. That's the sentence for singer R. Kelly. 55-year-old fallen star learned his fate after being convicted of racketeering and sex trafficking.
So, racketeering and sex trafficking. Well, sex trafficking, it was the same thing that...
Ain't that the same shit they charging like Young Thug, gentlemen with racketeering? You know, so it's kind of confusing to me. And I was having this discussion with Ron B in the middle about the whole racketeering charge, and it just baffles me. So it's just anything, right? You're doing anything, and I tried to explain it to him that it's a criminal organization. You take a business organization, and if it does something criminal, now it's a criminal organization. You can charge it on the record on a RICO Act. Which makes no sense to me, but they're doing it. That's what they're doing. But you know, they can do whatever they want to do, right? You got Superman Willis here, so whatever. Let's go.
Wayne Maxwell was charged with, but when you have a purpose of an organization, or in this case, you know, his business as a performer, and a part of that business is procuring women, and some of them are underage, for the purpose.
Okay, let's break this down real quick, fast and hurry. So he said it was entertainment was his business, right? But now he's saying that it's somehow procuring females. I don't understand. Like, all I know him for is making music, but now they're trying to say that his business is procuring females. So I guess he's a pimp. But I don't get it. How can you just say now, because you making millions of dollars off music, but now we want to say that you are a pimp, right? Because I mean, you're procuring females. Shit, I don't know what else way to look at it. I'm from the streets, so it sound like pimping to me. Sound like pimping? It is pimping, right? Let's go.
Of sex, the courts, it takes it to a new level. I'll tell you this: homicides are easier to defend than sex cases. They just are.
But why is that? Why are homicides easier? Because if you watch my last video, Mr. Bruce Willis, and I think you did, you know, you have a defense. And that's all I've been saying about the Young Thug situation. He has no defense. The same with crime sex situations. There's no defense. There's no defense. If someone charges you with a crime sex situation, you have no defense. You do, but you really don't, right? In this case, what they're going to utilize is the fact that, you know, so age is the defense, right? So the female says that she never said she was 15, 16 years old. So you can use that as defense. The not knowing, right, is a defense. The other thing is, you know, there's a couple of little defenses that you can utilize in this, but it's very vague and it's not applicable, because when they start drawing up the facts to the case, they're going to either admit it or omit it, or they're going to already have the female saying that I told him my age. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to mitigate that. So they're going to go into the charge understanding that this guy knew how old this female was, and there's no defense to what he did, which was that. But I'm just saying the defenses are limited, and so that's why it's difficult, because he's not breaking it down, and that's all I'm getting at right now. I am. That's it. I'm a prison boy.
You know, when you hear a homicide, somebody shot somebody, oh, what happened? Oh, you know, you don't have this. Was it in self-defense? You know, everybody has a gun. Nobody gives a shit about that. But when your client sits there and they say, you know, what the charges are, criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, blah, 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 and it's a child, let's say it's a child, and I know some of the kids in this case were underage, and the judge says, whatever the judge says, and that jury looks at your client, guess what? They're picturing and doing that shit. You know, so it's very difficult to dig yourself out of that fucking hole.
Victims spoke about the sentence.
I never thought that I would be here to see him be held accountable.
When you're facing a sentencing on something like this, to be honest with you, there's nothing you can fucking say. So you're better off not saying anything. And he's maintaining his innocence, so the only way to, you know, one of the factors in deciding whether there's any mitigation is when you have acceptance of responsibility, right? He went to trial, he fucking lost, he's going to appeal, so he's got zero acceptance of responsibility. He's also now a sex offender. I
love how you do that sex offender shit into it. You know what I'm saying? That's what they famous for. You know, like sex offender. You know, in the state of Minnesota, Mr. Bruce Willis, CLR, hold on, CLR, I'm talking to you, CLR, when I got charged under promotion of prostitution. When I got charged, they were turning that statute into sex trafficking. At the same time it was turning into sex trafficking, they were moving to move that statute out of the regular grid, because I don't know no pimp that's a sex offender. I mean, how could you be a sex offender? But they figured out a way to take that statute and make it a sex offense now. In 2019, 2020, if you get charged as a pimp in the state of Minnesota, you are a sex offender. Red alert. You know what I'm saying? So they love to utilize these labels to criminalize you, to vilify you, and make your something, make the crime something it's not. Yeah, I'm talking to you, CLR. You know, so that's why it's sex offender. So I guess he's a sex offender. I guess a pimp is a sex offender. I mean, in their book, they can call anything they want, right? It could be whatever it's going to be. And they utilize it. So, for guilt, things like that. And again, I'm not trying to say, I don't know what happened. I just know what happened in my case and how, you know, if I got charged with that case today, I'll have to register as a sex offender and all shit like that. Like, how the fuck is pimping a sex offense? But, you know, and the other side of it, they don't make the patron do it. 9 times out of 10, he's not registering as a sex offender because he's a white cat and he has a good job and whatever. Let's move on.
She's talking about there was part of the process is called allocution. The defendant has a right to say whatever they want to say to the court. And generally, if it's this bad, and especially if you're going to appeal it, you don't have to say anything. But there's another victim impact part of sentencing where the victims get up and first of all, they all testified. So listening to their testimony and having to attack their credibility from a defense lawyer's standpoint is a very trick.
That's exactly what my lawyer told me. So in these cases, you can have a person get on the stand and lie, and your defense attorney is going to tell you, you can't attack them. Like, what? This person's lying. This person's telling a bald-faced ass lie. You can't, they're a victim. And it's like, how do you defend yourself? You know what I'm saying? The same way, how do you defend yourself? If you did not do the crime and you're not that individual, how do you defend yourself if your attorney is telling you, don't get on stage, don't say nothing, you can't attack these, they're victims. But the state, it decides who's the victim, right? We're both victims. If you're lying on me and I didn't do the crime, then I'm the victim in this situation. But I can't say nothing because the case is a crim sack. So it's something to that extent. And again, I'm not taking anything. If something happened, sexual assault, anything like that, yes, victim has to be, you know, first and foremost, they got to be held to the standard that their testimony is the truth of the matter. You know what I'm saying? And it happens exactly how they say. But how do you do that, Mr. CLR? How do you do that? And that's what's wrong with the system, right? Because you'll take an individual that the state decides they're going to be victim. They're going to be the victim. That's the victim in this situation. States decides, right? But, you know, there's several different ways you want to look at this. The first thing you can look at R. Kelly in a situation that it's very popular. R. Kelly was the Drake of the 90s, right? You know, he was in the best of both worlds. He was doing major things, making a lot of money. Same with Bill Cosby in his situation. These black men making a lot of money. But somehow the system followed through sexual allegations that happened, decided to unravel their legacy. I mean, they made the mistake. You know, they did what they had to do. But you got to ask yourself a question. These people they didn't decide this stuff in a bubble, right? They didn't just vacuum seal. These aren't the first individuals that done it, but these are individuals who are being charged with a lot of time. Same with Michael Jackson, you know, his situation. You know, why did he go through the whole sexual abuse, minors, and all this other stuff? What I'm getting at, a lot of this fame and entertainment, the industry allows you to believe that you have so much power. So this is what I have. This is the argument I'm bringing. It's like, okay, all of a sudden this guy wants to get on the tube and say, don't snitch. Okay, don't do this. But the industry allows that behavior to happen because they make you believe that you're somehow a god. And that's what I want to say about Mr. R. Kelly and his sentence and what's going on with him. It's like, this white man believes that somehow he is the judge and he can sentence you. The only judge is R. Kelly's gonna have to deal with is the judge when he goes to see the true judge, right? He's gonna have to deal with himself. Here, this ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? If anything, it's a testament to your moral stature, the resolve within your soul when you go into those cells, right? Has nothing to do with them doing anything. Their punishment in their mind, they're punishing you, but they're not. The punishment actually resolves when you actually go and have to really pay for the sins that you've done. So, and how you deal with that is how you deal with it, Mr. CLR. So let me get off my religious soapbox. Let's continue with this foolishness.
Tricky thing to do, and it's a very delicate thing to do, because if you do it the wrong way, the jury fucking hates your guts and your claim is fucked. By listening to them, and I guarantee you, during the phase where you have the victim impact, that they get up there and they talk and they talk and they talk, and you just have to sit there and listen, and it's very difficult because usually it's heart-wrenching. You can see that they're almost in tears.
I stand here very proud of my judicial system, very proud of my fellow survivors, and very pleased with the outcome. 30 years did he do this, and 30 years is what he got.
Katie, does this send a message?
Yes, it does. It sends a message to other survivors that, this is a day and time that we're being heard and believed.
The prosecution team says he avoided punishment for decades until today.
R. Kelly is a predator, and as a result of our prosecution, he'll serve a long jail sentence for his crimes.
When I look at what R. Kelly did, I kind of liken it to Jeffrey Epstein, and the whole island thing and how he isolated people. And this, I don't want to say it's worse, but it might have been. And because there was, I think, torture involved, and I had heard that they had asked permission to go to the bathroom, and they were basically imprisoned. And
I guess with this conversation, the reason I thought it was important, because at the end of the day, the children in this matter, and the females though, grown women in this matter, because of whatever reason, whether it was seeking fame, fortune, they were in love with R. Kelly, whatever it might be, they decided to make a bad decision, and fuck with that cat. Whatever, rumors, whatever, because you hear shit. But when it comes to the juvenile, so let's roll back this conversation. So and this is an alert to all you individuals who call yourself entertainers. You might want to pay attention to this shit, because he's basically saying that as individuals, as you go off on tour and you have these roadies or, whoever they want to be, bring these females to you, you're a pimp now. So you're on tour and females, you go out and it happens 24, it's not something new. He's not saying something that's like, wow, this is news. It's like they do that every tour. I guess that's the perks of the tour. You get to go, your choice of females that decide to come to your show. Okay, if you're an adult, that's fine. But they say now it's a juvenile. That's an issue. So, all right, so let's run it. So if it's juvenile, male or female, that your roadie goes out, decides to procure for you, for your deranged behavior, then it's an issue. Okay, I can roll with that, Mr. Bruce CLR. Yeah. Okay, so, but my question is what if the female does use a false ID and you think that female is an adult? There was another complexity to the conversation. Now you can maybe use defense of, I didn't know. Perhaps she tells you. But in these situations, these individuals were juveniles who left home and their parents did nothing. So how accountable are the parents in the situation? Nobody's talked about it. Nobody's dealt with it. I know parents have gone on, but if my daughter is 15, because 16 is the age of consent. So are we talking about 15, 14, 13 years old? How the hell is a 14, 13, 14 years old outside the house, gone, kidnapped, without anybody doing anything about anything unless they're complicit in the situation? I don't know. I just know if my daughter, I can only speak on my behalf, if my daughter was 15, 16 years old, because even 16 is the age of consent. So she could consent to having sex in the state of Minnesota. So if my daughter was 16 years old, even at age 16, even at age 17, even at age 18, if she's not home at the time she says she's not home, I want to phone to the police and trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? My problem is not with anybody, it's with the parents. How accountable are the parents? How they getting off of this? How do you let your daughter go be with this gentleman and not, you know she's with him, and not do anything about it? I don't know. Give me my comment box. Tell me what's going on. It's SAF prison lawyer. You're a girl pit. You feel me? Whoa, Rose.
So, you know, my heart goes out to these ladies. It does, because and for what? For somebody's sick fucking pleasure. You know, Epstein was the same fucking way. Completely narcissistic. You know, and that's what serial rapists and serial killers are the same way. They kill for their own satisfaction. They're consuming human beings, which, you know, there's just no different. There's no end to the variety of depravity in the human condition.
The attorney described Kelly's mood after hearing sentencing.
Obviously, he's devastated. 30 years in prison is like a life sentence for him.
Attorney Gloria Allred represents several of the victims.
Not a fan.
While he is in custody, he will not be able to continue to sexually victimize any other underage girls.
We're his sisters.
Also on hand, Kelly's 3 sisters showing their support. If Kelly serves out his entire sentence, he won't be free until he's 85 years old.
So, what do you make of that? 30 years. You know, in some jurisdictions, it would be life. Federally, he could have gotten life. And I'm not sure if he's got any charges elsewhere, but that is a huge sentence. And it's a huge sentence for him, and it's a...
Yeah, he does got other charges, other places. 30 years, they can run it concurrent, whatever they want to do. I mean, realistically, his career's over with. You know, they got what they wanted out of the situation. I'm not, like I said, I started off this conversation saying I'm not the judge, I'm not going to judge, and I'm not. At the end of the day, I'm not. I'm not trying to be like these white folks around here. And not to say the people shouldn't be held accountable. They should be held accountable by the community, by the elders, you know, not this institution that they call criminal injustice, you know. So at the end of the day, yeah, the motherfucker got 30 years, you know. I mean, whatever. You gonna, you know, I'm just saying, the problem is that now you got to get every motherfucker out there who's doing that same shit 30 years. And there's a lot of them. He ain't the only one. You feel me? He's the one that they decided to select it. So all you motherfuckers out here doing that dumbass shit, you understand? SAF Mo told you. You know what I'm saying? You know, you're watching this clown, you know, talk this bullshit, but that's what I'm telling you. If they can do it to R. Kelly, they will do it to you. And you can play all the games you want, because if they could take an organization that's built on entertainment and turn it into a criminal institution, charge you with the RICO Act and charge you with conspiracy acts and stuff like that, which that's just all I've been saying since Young Thug. I've just been saying, like, they're just making it blanket. So if they feel like you're doing anything criminal and they can get allegations or somebody to testify against you, you're going up the river. You're about to do 30 years. You're about to do life. You know what I'm saying? These people ain't playing, you know? And that's the long and short of it. So you can keep watching this fool. You know what I'm saying? CLI. He's on. What you got to say, CLI? I need some cleaning done in my motherfucking bathroom and shit, you know? You feel me?